Alright, well, I was going to start bleeding the brakes today. And then I realized that I did not have 3 quarts of brake fluid on hand. I only have a quart. So I went ahead and ordered some up. It'll be here tomorrow. So I'm going to try to get out here and drain the coolant out while I'm waiting. But I'm not sure if my big bucket is going to fit underneath the back of the car. I am going, since I have the wheels back on it, I am going to slide one of my extra wheels here under each side just to give myself a little added protection. I do not trust these types of jack stands under this particular car. There's really not a lot of good flat spots for it, and these are not got pucks at the top, so I may be replacing these jack stands with some puck style, which means a trip to the store. But just for my own personal safety, I'm going to put one of these big 4-wheel drive tires under each side, especially towards here in the rear. And now give me that. And the other thing I need to do is remove the engine cover. Now I will see if I can reach it without having to be in or take the damn seats out of the car, or at least one of the seats. But I'm not a tiny person, so we will see if I can do that. If not, I'll pull the passenger seat back out. Actually, this is one of my old truck tires, and that works pretty good because by sliding it under and pushing it towards the rear, now the tire is actually sitting on the car, so if this damn thing was to shift over, the car really wouldn't move much. I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. Alright, that works pretty good. I got one under each side, sort of towards the middle of the car. I am going to put the jack under here in the back, just to lift it up a little bit so I can get my tub under there. That will put the nose more firmly on the 2 front jacks. Again, if the car slips, it's literally on top of the tire, so it's not going to move but half an inch or so. So that makes me feel a little safer with these particular jack stands. All right, let's see if we can get on that. Okay, so easiest way for me to reach the point that I want to is actually from the side. So I'm going to keep that tire underneath the car on that side, and then I'm going to come back here and put another brace right here. That way I should be able to get there. But it doesn't look like, with the car at this particular height, that I can get my big bucket under there. So I'll have to use some smaller pans, and this thing has 6 gallons, so hopefully I can drain it in stages. So I know that the radiator on the front driver's side is empty because I drained that already. So hopefully that means some of the coolant is out of it. But yeah, I need to get somewhere right about there is where the motor or the main drain plug, and then I need to disconnect a couple of hoses as well. But I think I'm going to come in from the passenger side, so I'm going to go ahead and take, goodbye dead spider, go ahead and move that wheel so I can get to it from the side, which is the shortest distance, instead of having to crawl all the way up there under the car. Like I said, I'm too fat for this kind of shit. If I had it on the quick jacks, I could get it up 2 feet and use a creeper. But all right, so yeah, we are going to see about finding a place where we can put the jack just as additional support. I think I just don't trust these jack stands on this particular car. Alright, as you can see, the midsection engine cover piece arrow is completely missing. The bracket here goes to nothing, so I'm probably going to remove that. Oh, I got one on the other side too, so it's missing the whole thing. So we'll go ahead and pull those off out of the way, at least for now, put them in a bucket, If I can find this piece eventually, maybe I'll put it back on. But at this point, I am going to, I'm trying to see if I can see the, so thermostat is this piece. So that should be, oops, the drain right there. So one of the drains. So we'll go ahead and work on getting that out of there. I'm going to use my 3 drain buckets and just kind of swap them out as I go, just depending on how full they get. The other thing I'm going to do is go grab my light, so I have a little bit more light down here. Alright, so I got that on there on the middle drain. Just broke it free. So that should, once I get that backed out, start draining. I did, it's hard to see from this angle, but I did get this hose here. If you can see the clamp, this clamp here, I did get it moved back off of the thermostat housing, but it is stuck on there. So I'm going to have to try to get that out here in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and get this guy out of here. Hopefully I don't make too big of a mess. I got my drain pan, so I'm going to go ahead and use both hands to do this. I don't have a lot of room because I don't have the car up very high. So just trying to do this as easy as possible. Well, I got it to start leaking. And don't know if you can really tell, but that's basically just water. So there's no coolant in this whatsoever. Alright, so guess that front radiator must have been leaking for a while. Somebody filled it full of water. I hadn't had it leaking until I started messing around with it again, so either it just didn't have any water at that end until I started running it and finally worked its way out, or just because I was running it, the leak crack or whatever got bigger. So I'm waiting for a few seconds, and then I keep opening up the leak just this way it doesn't pour out, because again, I don't know how much coolant will come out once I drain it, and I only have these 3 drain pans right here close at hand to get it out without making a mess all over the ground. So I turned that little Allen just a smidge from where it was, and it literally just fell out. So now it's kind of, it runs for a few seconds and then it stops, and it runs for a few seconds, so it definitely has some air in there. So we'll get this shit out of here and get all this stuff changed. Okay, back after this thing's drained and I start pulling the hoses. Alright, so I kept letting it drain for a little bit, and now I went up into the trunk and cracked open the radiator cap, and as you can see, it's starting to flow, and it's still just water. We're still on our first pan. I'd say it's about time to change it out because it's easier to dump it this way, so I'm going to swap it with this other one and I'll dump it. It's got a light tint of green to it, so there might have been a little bit of antifreeze in the system, but yeah, this mostly looks like water. It smells like water. No, I'm not putting it in my mouth, so I'm not going to test that. But there is a slight hint of antifreeze in the air. But yeah, for the most part, that's pretty clear. So that was only about 3/4 full of a 5-quart, so maybe about 4 quarts of antifreeze. We'll see. I believe the stuff that I bought is supposed to be pink. At least that's the way I understood it. So, but I bought one for the German car, so for this particular one. All right, and it's barely trickling. It hasn't, since I swapped the pan, it slowed down. So we'll go ahead and let that run out, and then I'll start working on getting the hoses off so I can get the rest of the coolant drained. Alright, so I just opened the burp valve, and as you can see, it's pouring. So we're going to get this over here. And alright. So now both the radiator cap and the burp are open, and it is definitely flowing now. So I'm going to go ahead and drain this one so I can be ready to swap hands again. Alright, so I just drained the third bucket, and that is the fourth. And it's starting to slow down again. So I guess now it's time to figure out which of the coolant lines need to be separated to get those out of there, because I do have the new thermostat with the housing. I guess you can replace just the thermostat, but I figured, I think the whole unit was like 20 bucks. So it really wasn't that expensive, and then a new water pump with the pulley already on it, because apparently that's the way they come these days on this particular car. So yep, the cat's coming to help, I see. So once this stops draining, I'll go ahead and I've got a couple of the hose clamps loose on this side already. I just need to get in there and break the seal free. Hopefully that isn't too difficult. But alright, so back when we're onto the hoses, I guess. Alright, so I am trying to get this hose, this one that goes there, and then ducts behind it. So I'm trying to get a good bite on that clamp. It's off of the thermostat housing, but it's frozen at the top, and I cannot get a good grip on it to twist it to get it to come loose. But our drip has pretty much stopped from the center, so probably here, once I pull this hose, I'll put the plug back in and tighten it down. But I do believe I need to take that hose off over there as well. I think there was one more I needed to take off. I think it's this one here on this housing, this weird octopus thing. Maybe I need to take that one off first, but I'm having a problem getting past the one that I'm trying to get off so I can get to that clamp. So when I put it back together, I'm going to put it so the clamps are easier to get to. Alright, let's figure this out. Okay, so I was able to get the smaller one off that was connected to the thermostat housing, or next to the thermostat, I don't know. So that one's out of the way. I was able to stick a body tool, panel tool, under the edge of the one I've been trying to get off, and now it's draining. I still need to get that completely off, but at least we've got some liquid coming out. But I don't think these have been off. They pretty much look original. From the research I've been doing and what I've been reading, this water pump was supposed to be changed about every 40,000 miles or so. At least that's what I've been reading. Again, this car, the odometer doesn't work. Last recorded mileage on a pink slip was 42 something, call it 45,000. It's been sitting since 2017, so this was work that needed to be done anyway, so might as well do it. So yeah, so once I get these, once I get this side drained, I'll go to the other side and get the other clamp off this one right there, and then I can drain that side. This is actually a harder process than pretty much anything else I've done on this car so far, just because there's just not a lot of room for me to work. I think if I had it up on the quick jacks and I was able to get under the car a little bit better, this wouldn't be so bad. But I think they said this was like a 2 or 3 hour job in the Boxster 101 book, so I still haven't taken the interior apart to get to the pump and the pulleys and stuff, so I will be replacing all of the pulleys, the belt, along with the water pump and the thermostat. And I did also buy an alternator because the car had been sitting. I didn't know what condition the alternator would be in, and I figured probably won't hurt to change it since I'll have everything apart anyway. So I may that'll be on my list of things to do. It's ready to go. So just trying to make this car the most reliable I can at this point. I wish I could find my big grips so I could get a hold of the upper tube a little better, but I may have to fiddle with it because, like I said, these seem like they are originally put on. If they've been changed, it was a long time ago. Alright, back in a while. Alright, so I was finally able to get it off of the thermostat, the big one. So, of course, with me laying on my side, I'm not thin enough to reach up there and show you that. But you can see the two pipes. There it is. So right now the hose is just dripping into the bucket. So I got this side done. I'm gonna go do that side real quick, and then we'll probably call this part one. It's starting to get late. We had a late day getting started. We had the home nurse out this morning, and we had to go pick up meds, and my wife's been feeling really weak since she was in the hospital last week. So I've been kind of keeping more of an eye on her. So we'll get this other hose off, let this drain overnight, and then in the morning I'll be able to come out here and start taking the thermostat housing and the water pump bolts out. I believe there's 7 on the water pump, and you can get to like 3 at the top and the other 4 down here, so I'll have to get those out of the way. And then the thermostat housing, I'm not sure if they're all from the bottom. I know at least one of them is right there, and there's another one that's kind of hidden between this rubber hose and that metal piece. I believe you can get that one from the bottom, so we'll see. And all right, so let me slide onto the other side and go from there. This light bar, LED light bar, may be showing up on the camera really bright, but it's really nice. It came with, I bought it as an extra with my quick jacks. It's kind of helpful. Well, one nice thing about all of this, yeah, it's got a slight green tint to it. So again, I don't think there was a lot of coolant in it, but at least it's not milkshake-y and it's not coming out in clumps. And when I changed the oil, there was it was just black, but no grayness. So at least no blown head gasket at this point. So that's always a plus. So all right, so I'm gonna switch over to the other side, take my tools over there, start draining that side. I just drained another bucket, so I believe that means we're up to about 5.5 at this point. So 5.5, let's see, 4 quarts gallon. So we might be getting close to empty. Like I said, I know that front radiator on the driver's side is empty because whatever was in there we already drained out. So hopefully the driver's side doesn't have much, but I guess that's getting pretty close. So we're probably between 4 gallons and 5 at this point, maybe somewhere in the, which is still a lot of damn coolant for a car. All right, so now we're back onto the driver's side, and we're going to go ahead and get that clamp right there. That should be the last hose I need to get all the coolant out of the car, or at least as much as I can, I guess. I do have the front end a little higher than the back, so anything that was left in the front should be rolling back here to the back. So if there's any coolant left, it would be up in the motor. So we'll see. But and then when we're done, we'll make sure the car is sitting nice and back on the jack stands. Right now it's just kind of hanging out. So all right, so we're gonna get that out of there real quick, hopefully. All right, well, that came off way easier than the other ones did. And there was like absolutely no liquid on that side. All right, so I'm just gonna let that drip for the night. I can definitely tell somebody's been in here doing something, because here's some zip ties, some cheap ones. Oh look, it's a double. They didn't have enough zip ties, so they doubled it up. That was probably holding on this bottom panel, so that's not good. So, all right, so in the morning we'll start the water pump removal and replacement, thermostat, belt, and pulleys. All right, thanks for watching.